It's not been that long, has it? Oh, it's only about like 4 weeks ago at least. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to the channel. It's me, it's AOB coming back at you with yet another video. Welcome to my latest video after 5 months of waiting. Jesus Christ, I'm a state, my hair's a mess. 5 months I've been gone. I've got absolutely nothing for you. I've been distracted, I've been working, I've not been able to make videos because I've been living at home with my parents and now I live in my own flat. And at the minute I've got the flat to myself so I can use the living room. So don't get used to this location for future videos. Right, so I thought I would start off fairly simple for the first video on this channel in 5 months. I'm going to do a superhero tag. Now, what is a superhero tag, you might ask? A superhero tag is something that people did like almost a year ago. I don't think they do it anymore, but I'm going to do it. I'm going to bring it back. The superhero tag is basically where I answer various superhero related questions that are personal to me. Favorite superheroes, favorite DC characters, favorite Marvel characters, anything like that. I'm going to answer. Now, I didn't come up with these questions on my own. These are questions I borrowed from Wingy Media. And Wingy Media is another YouTuber who talks about Doctor Who and other various nerd culture related things. And he also borrowed these questions from another YouTuber. So I'm going to accredit Wingy Media to me borrowing these questions. I cannot remember the name of the YouTuber that he borrowed the questions off of. So if you want to find out what YouTuber he got the questions off of, you can go ahead and watch his superhero tag. Because I cannot remember the name of the YouTuber that he accredited to these questions. Does that make sense? It's YouTubeception, it's okay. Without further ado, let's get straight into this superhero tag, shall we? Question number 1. Who is your all-time favourite superhero? This is an incredibly easy question, and if it isn't obvious, my tattoo, I don't know if you can see it there, that should probably answer it for you, but my favourite superhero is Billy Zane's The Phantom. No, only joking. I'm guessing of Billy Zane's The Phantom. I've not even watched that before. Good lord. My favourite superhero of all time is obviously Spider-Man. Spider-Man has been my all-time favourite superhero ever since I was a child. I was obsessed, and when I say obsessed, I can't stress enough, obsessed with the Raimi movies growing up as a child. Ultimately, the Raimi Spider-Man movies were my introduction to Spider-Man, as well as the 90s animated cartoon. Those were both my introduction to Spider-Man, and ever since, I have absolutely just been obsessed, and I never grew out of that obsession. It's easy to be obsessed with Spider-Man and all that as a kid, but I never really grew out of it. But as a child, and even growing up today, people say it all the time about Spider-Man, but the reason he is so popular is because of how relatable he is. He's not some billionaire genius who builds his own armor. He's not some billionaire who goes away and trains in the mountains for 10 years or whatever to become a master in martial arts. He doesn't have like a fancy destiny. It's nothing like that. He's just an everyday child in school who has the same problems that everyone else has. He gets bullied, he has girl problems, he has all of that stuff that everybody can relate to, and you feel like, Jesus Christ, if I was bitten by a radioactive spider, I could do all the things that he can. Peter Parker is just the embodiment of the everyday person, everyday student, all of that stuff. It's the embodiment of what we all go through in our youth. Whether you're a girl, whether you're a boy, anybody can relate to Peter Parker, and if you were bitten by a radioactive spider, by God, you would make it your own, and you would do exactly what he does, and you would think to yourself, with great power comes great responsibility. Number 2. What is your favourite superhero movie? I don't know if a lot of you are going to think, come on now Aaron, you can be more original than that, but I cannot lie to you when I say my all-time favourite superhero movie is Avengers Infinity War. Not only did it live up to my expectations, but it also surpassed them in every way. It was the biggest comic book crossover of all time that has ever happened. It's the biggest crossover of anything that's ever happened. Honestly, I had never been so hyped for a movie before it came out more than I was for Avengers Infinity War. I cannot tell you how hyped I was. The entirety of the first half of 2018 dragged on because I was just waiting for Infinity War to come out, and it did not disappoint. It was just a comic book crossover come to life in the best way possible. All of these characters meeting who I never ever thought would meet on a big screen before. There was so much satisfaction with that movie that I have never experienced when watching a movie before. It was just the culmination of my all-time favourite movie franchise. It did not disappoint, it exceeded, it surpassed all my expectations, and I could not be happier. And to be quite frank, as excited as I am for Avengers Endgame, it's got a lot to top. Avengers Infinity War, best superhero movie of all time in my opinion. Number 3, what is your favourite MCU film? Well, consider I answered what my favourite superhero movie of all time is, which is Avengers Infinity War. It should make it pretty obvious what my favourite MCU movie is, shouldn't it? Probably shouldn't have bothered including that one. Number 4, favourite superhero TV show. Now, to be honest with you, I don't watch very many superhero TV shows. I mean, I've watched the first 2 seasons of The Flash, which I do love the first 2 seasons of The Flash. That is the only superhero CW show that I've watched anything of. It's gotten to a point now where I want to watch all of them, especially for all these massive crossovers that they do, like, you know, Crisis on Earth X and all that stuff. Like, I cannot imagine how amazing those episodes must be, but the fact of the matter is, there is too many for me to catch up on. There's too much time that I would require to watch all of Arrow, to watch all of Legends of Tomorrow, to watch all of Supergirl. I can't, I don't have the time, there are other things I need to be doing. I just don't have it in me. I don't even have it in me to finish watching The Flash. So I don't watch very many TV shows. As much as I love the MCU, I tried watching Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and I couldn't get into it. I just don't think a superhero TV show without any superheroes is something that entices me very much. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I mean, I wanted to watch season 4 for Ghost Rider. I can't just watch one season of a show without watching the rest. I can't do it. Just give Ghost Rider his own show or film and then I'll be there like that. But of the ones that I have watched, I've watched all the first seasons of the Netflix shows. Daredevil, Jessica Jones, Luke Cage, Iron Fist, and The Defenders. Out of all those, this isn't going to be a very popular one. I'm going to go with The Defenders. Now hold on, just calm freaking down. Just calm down. I know The Defenders is not the most popular superhero TV show in the world. It didn't get that good reviews and stuff and what have you, and you know, people would probably be outraged that I didn't pick Daredevil or Punisher or Jessica Jones, but there is novelty in crossovers for me. I love crossovers, and The Defenders is the culmination of seasons of the Marvel Netflix shows. I'm a sucker for crossovers, and the fact that The Defenders didn't have as many episodes as each character's individual show helped, because as great as a lot of the Netflix shows are, they can drag because they're like 12 or 13 episodes long, and I think The Defenders was about 8 episodes long, so it just went straight into the action and it didn't slow down, and there wasn't any points where it felt like it dragged for me. I find there's a lot of rewatchability in the first season of The Defenders than there is in all the other shows, even the really, really good ones, so I'm gonna go with Defenders, and that's why. Marvel or DC? Good lord. No matter what I answer, I'm gonna get crucified by whoever watches this. Listen, this might be a cop-out, but Marvel and DC are good for different things. Marvel are better for movies, and DC are better for comics and probably TV shows. They're doing better in that front. Now, I do read comic books. I'm not like a hardcore comic book reader. I'm still, you know, trying to catch up on a lot of them. So I'm not going to pretend that I've got this extensive knowledge on all the comic books in the world regarding Marvel and DC, because I don't. But from what I've read of Marvel and what I've read of DC so far, DC has got a mega upper hand in the comic book department compared to Marvel, because Marvel comics are in deep shit with fans and stuff at the minute because they're on the whole SJW bandwagon and they're pushing agendas and shit, which, you know, I can see from the recent ones that I've read. So I'm just gonna go and pick both, because both are good for different things. Marvel are better for movies, DC are better for comics and TV shows. I'm just gonna go with that. Sorry guys, you can come at me all you want. I ain't picking one over the other because I love them both, okay? Avengers or X-Men? Avengers, that's an easy one for me. I'm not a big X-Men fan. There isn't anything I particularly have against X-Men, it's just, out of all the Marvel properties, X-Men is not one that interests me very much. I'm not a big X-Men fanatic. I can give or take the X-Men, I'm not too bothered. The Avengers, on the other hand, I adore the Avengers. I adore all the characters in the Avengers. Iron Man, Thor, Captain America, Hawkeye, Black Widow, Hulk, all of them. They're the main Avengers. And the Avengers has gone through it's had loads of different superheroes in the team over the years, but at least with the Avengers I actually have an invested interest in most of the characters that have been in the Avengers or are in the Avengers. X-Men, not massively bothered about a lot of the characters in the X-Men. I mean, there's the obvious one, Wolverine. I'm not a big Wolverine fan. I mean, sometimes I think he's a bit overrated. I have a soft spot for Xavier. That's about it in terms of X-Men. I'm not too fussed about X-Men. I don't have an extensive knowledge about X-Men. because they just don't interest me that much. The closest thing to the X-Men that really interests me is Deadpool. I love Deadpool, adore Deadpool, but he's not an X-Man, so I'm just gonna go with Avengers. That's an easy one for me. Favourite on-screen portrayal of the Batman? This is gonna be a controversial one. I'm gonna go with Ben Affleck. Now, Ben Affleck has not been in the best DC movies, admittedly. Say what you will about Batman v Superman and Justice League and his brief little cameo in Suicide Squad. I think that Ben Affleck is killing it as Batman, and it is really, really, really devastating that there is a pretty good chance that he's not going to be playing Batman again. It will be such a shame if he stops, because he is, to me anyway, personally, the best on-screen portrayal of Batman that we've had. Ben Affleck's Batman, he is the most iconic, he's iconic Batman. He looks like Batman, he has the presence of Batman, he is intimidating as Batman. Especially performance Batman v Superman, I love how he portrays Bruce Wayne. No, he doesn't give a shit, he just doesn't care. And he does the billionaire persona pretty well as well. And his performance of Batman, he just has that presence, and it's the best looking Batman we've ever had, the most comic book accurate Batman that's out there. And I'm not a comic book purist? I'm not a comic book purist if the films don't follow a certain comic book line exact beat for beat that it's adapting to the big screen. I'm not bothered. I don't mind if they take liberties to advance a story. When I know Batman kills in that film, very obviously so, that doesn't sit well with people, but for me, it didn't bother me too much because I thought Ben Affleck's portrayal overall was smashing, if I do say so. So I'm going to go with Ben Affleck. Nothing against Christian Bale, nothing against Michael Keaton, hell, nothing even against Adam West, God rest his soul, because they're the only Batmans. Who?
Val Kilmer.
Who?
Val Kilmer.
Nah, don't remember him.
George Clooney.
Sorry?
George Clooney.
Nah, I don't remember him either.
He was Batman as well.
Nah.
They were.
Nah, they were never Batman, I don't think, nah.
Yeah, they were.
Nah. Yeah, Ben Affleck's Batman. Favourite superhero team? Ooh. Well, it's gonna be between the Avengers and Justice League. Oh, this is a tougher one, because to be honest, I've known about the Justice League longer than I've known about the Avengers. My first big introduction to the Avengers was at the start of the MCU in the first Avengers movie. That was when I first started to get somewhat familiar with the Avengers. I mean, I knew Marvel had their own team, but I wasn't fully aware or introduced to them until like way later on in life. During the time about Iron Man 2 came out, I was sort of like, oh yeah, there's plans, there's Avengers coming out, and that's like Marvel's Justice League. So I was intrigued by it, but my first proper introduction wasn't until it came out. Whereas with Justice League, I've always known about the Justice League. I've always loved the Justice League. I used to watch the Justice League animated show as a kid. So that was my first proper introduction to the Justice League. I think overall the Justice League, as much as I love the Avengers, I think the Justice League have got more, it's full of more iconic superheroes. You've got Batman, you've got Superman, you've got Green Lantern, you've got Wonder Woman, Aquaman. It's got all these iconic superheroes and in the team. Whereas with the Avengers, they're iconic now because of how successful the MCU is, but they weren't as iconic back then as the Justice League were. I think the Justice League were just way more mainstream. And overall as a team, the Justice League is just better structured, I suppose. They've got more to them. If the Justice League were to fight the Avengers, I think the Justice League would win quite easily. Justice League just has an amazing roster of characters in its team. Tie that with the fact that I've kind of grown up more with the Justice League than I have the Avengers, and all of the characters in the Justice League I had a fondness for, so I'd go with Justice League for that one. Favourite superhero theme or score? This is an easy one for me because anytime I get asked this question or anytime we talk about this, the first one that comes to my head is the Sam Raimi score from the original Spider-Man trilogy. That score gives me goosebumps every single time. That theme, I mean that entire opening of Spider-Man, especially the first Spider-Man in the Sam Raimi trilogy, just gives me chills every time I watch that film. The build-up, it's just so epic, it's so grand, it's so feel-good. You just feel like you can do anything anytime that song's on. I just have an extreme fondness for it, and I've got immense nostalgia for it because anytime I watch Spider-Man as a child and anytime I watch Spider-Man now, it never fails to give sense chills down my spine. Who is your favourite supervillain? I won't lie, this isn't going to be very original, but it's either, it's between the Joker or Venom. I think I'm going to give the edge to Joker because I've just got way more memorabilia to do with the Joker than I do Venom. I want to get a Joker tattoo, for God's sake, so that's got to attribute to my decision somewhat. I'll give Venom close second, But for me, my favourite supervillain all time has to be the Joker. Sorry, I know it's not very original. I know a load of people would say the Joker, but the Joker is iconic. He's up there with Darth Vader in terms of villain status. As different as each portrayal as the Joker is, the core of the character is always there to me. There's not a version of the Joker that I don't love. I even love Jared Leto's Joker, which is... some people are gonna attack the fuck out of me for that, but yes, I admit it. I love Jared Leto's Joker. Okay, just sit down, just relax. Okay, it's not my favorite. I couldn't choose a favorite. Every version of the Joker is iconic. The Arkham series Joker, iconic. Heath Ledger's Joker, iconic. Jack Nicholson's Joker is iconic. There's so many versions of the Joker that's iconic. I know I didn't say Jared Leto because not a lot of people like him. I think I'm like the only one out of 2 people in the world who like Jared Leto's Joker. Joker being a character that in most versions of him you don't know anything about him. I know he has a backstory in some versions, but there's just not a wrong way to do the Joker. And I think it's that versatility of the character. Each different version you see that is the Joker, and he does have similarities to other versions, but there's also something different and distinctive about that Joker. It's hard to say. But Joker is my all-time favourite superhero villain. If you were a superhero, what power would you want? Ooh, if this was a few years ago, I would have easily said, I just want Spider-Man powers. I just want the ability to more specifically the Raimi Spider-Man powers. I would want the ability to shoot webs out of my wrists. I wouldn't want a web shooter. I want the ability to have, organic web shooters in my wrists. I could just do it. I would have loved that, and the ability to climb walls. But over the past few years, I have gotten a newfound love for Green Lantern. And I would have to say I want a Green Lantern power ring. The whole idea of having a ring where you can just construct anything with your mind just sounds like the best thing ever. And you can fly around, you can fly in space, you can encase yourself in an oxygen, like anything. Go into Oa where there's other Green Lanterns. I just love that idea. And plus, there's various different versions of Green Lantern. It's not like, oh, I want to put my mind in Hal Jordan. A Green Lantern is anybody. There is loads of Green Lanterns. I could just make up my own fan fiction that I become a Green Lantern because a Green Lantern power ring came up to me and went, you've been chosen. You've got strong enough willpower. Put me on your fucking finger, you bastard. And I'd be like, alright then, I'll have it. A Green Lantern can be anybody should their willpower be strong enough. But there's just something cool about the idea of having a Green Lantern ring where you can just construct anything with your mind and just do all of this awesome stuff. So I'm gonna go with having a Green Lantern power ring. Favourite DC hero? If this was again a few years ago, I would have easily said Batman, because Batman is one of my all-time favourite characters in anything, not just superhero. So I would have just said Batman if it was a few years ago. But as I mentioned before, I have recently gotten into Green Lantern a lot, so much so that he's sort of overtaken Batman a smidge in terms of my favourite DC character, so I'm going to go with Green Lantern. And it's not even just a particular Green Lantern character. I mean, I love all of them. I love Hal Jordan, I love Guy Gardner, Jon Stewart, Simon Baz, Jessica Cruz, Kyle Rayner. I love them all. But it's not the particular character that I love, it's the concept of Green Lantern. I think the whole lore and the mythos of the Green Lantern is so interesting and so cool and just such an original idea. I just got into it. I just got into just the idea. You're chosen to wear a ring that chooses you if your willpower is strong enough, and once you've been chosen, you can do absolutely anything with that ring. Construct anything, do anything, fly. There's just something about the lore and the mythos of Green Lantern that just interests me so much, and I just love it so much. I just love my boy Green Lantern. I'm just gonna go with Green Lantern because my love for that has grown tremendously over the past few years, and it's so interesting to me. Well, I think that does it. I think that's all the questions that I've got written down on my trusty Venom pad. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for tuning into this superhero tag video. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't like it, hell, give it a thumbs down. I won't hold anything against you, because I'm nice like that. And if you liked it and you want to see more content, press the subscribe button. Hell, if you want to get notified, press the little bell thing. So whenever I upload anything in 5 months down the line again, then you will be notified anytime. So, thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, and ciao for now.